Hello. Okay, fair warning. I'm using a mic that might be loud. So if you notice it being too loud, let me know. But yeah, welcome. Gonna kind of wait a couple of minutes, let people join. I just tweeted out. Hopefully everyone's day was okay today. Mine was okay, just okay. Work, I mean, like my real day job. I've been trying to focus on. I don't really know why, but I've been trying to focus on decluttering. Okay, good. Thanks, Yaki. I've been trying to declutter my bench. Well, that's sort of ironic because I keep adding things to it. Now that the C2 OLED is here, and this is, keep in mind, this is the smallest OLED, the smallest C2 or LG OLED at least, and it takes up like all the space here. So I'm realizing that there's a problem. Eventually, what I would like to do is, since I have the C2, and eventually I'm hoping to still get a 4K. I don't know the situation with that with Mike. I haven't reached out to him. While I was making videos, he had mentioned that he might be able to send me one to review it. But now that I'm not particularly doing, review style things at the moment, I mean, whatever. I want to be able to stream on this side and actually use the OLED, right? So like, one of the things that I would like to do more of is actually playing the systems that I mod. Whether that be old mods that I've done already and they're just sitting in there, or new stuff, or whatever, just to try it out. Or really could be anything. If anybody has any thing that they would like me to test, some things are more difficult than other things, but to test. But if it's something simple, then I can always do that, and we can play some video games. So I'm trying to make. My computer is here, right on this side of my room, and I've ranted before about how I have this crazy. You can kind of see this cable is like going basically around my room, around 3 of the walls of my room, to go over here. Like I just recently got a networking switch back there somewhere, so I have a bunch of Ethernet I can connect consoles and things to if I need to. I've got all sorts of HDMI connections, but I guess I don't really have any USB connection over there to the computer on this side. So one of the things that I was experimenting with is, and I can look at this, it's a wireless mic, so I can like get up. The next thing I would like to do is get some, it doesn't have to be like crazy expensive wireless headphones, but something so that I can, I don't know, hear all around the room. Okay, so we're going to transition to the box in a few minutes, but I just wanted to mention, now that I can walk around and don't have to like yell, this is a this is a 20-foot, you can not really see it, but this is like a 20-foot active USB 3 cable. Normally the USB spec, I think it's like, depends on which one, like the USB 3.1 spec, which is the high speed spec if you're connecting like a really good SSD, or if you're doing things like on a laptop where you're actually piping your entire display through the USB port as well as through the USB Type-C. Anyways, this is just generic USB 3. So this is an active cable, which means it gets power from the computer to make it go longer, to the distance, I guess, from here to there. But so then I was just was testing devices out. So here's my Magewell. This is what I use to capture everything off of, all my video capture or video game capture stuff. I used to use the Magewell USB 3, I think this is called. This is a really good device. The problem is it was connecting in OBS, which is my stream software that I use, but then it would cut out, like the video would just stop playing. So I need to workshop this. Maybe I need to have a powered, because these devices are powered, right? They need more power, I believe, than they need some kind of power, even if it's a little bit. It's not like a mouse or a keyboard, although I guess a mouse or a keyboard would probably need power, obviously, too. But I'm trying to think of a good example. Like my audio interface needs additional power that just a unpowered USB hub. So this is just a USB hub. It doesn't add any extra power, although it does have it looks like it has a little barrel jack, so I don't know. So I might have to get some kind of a fancy powered USB. Yeah, not a dock, but just a powered hub. So like this, but something probably more beefy. I think that would probably work. And then what I would like to do is have move my entire setup, parts of it. I mean, I'm already, step one, I suppose, is the wireless mic. I don't, I like the flexibility of being able to walk around my room and like being able to use the computer because, all right, so I guess the master plan for the future, I don't know what the master plan is. Today we're going to go into this box and we're going to see what I have available to do. And there's actually stuff not just in this box. I have stuff in the cabinet. The cabinet's really disorganized. As soon as I got past, it used to be, when I started, I only had enough consoles in here. Hey, Verador. I only had enough consoles in here for one on each shelf. So that was only, 10 at the most. And then I started getting duplicates of things or storing things because just real talk. When I vape, if you follow me on Twitter, I recently quit vaping. It's like week 2 or something. I know that's not a super big milestone, but the downside of vaping is, and I vaped in here. I tried to keep it in a single room. Obviously, I don't didn't want my son really watching me do it. This is real talk. I'm not, whatever. But the problem is this room gets nasty. A lot of dust. That's why everything is in bins now, pretty much everything. So this is I put the glass doors on this. I put most of the things that I care about into a bin, and I actually got some more down here recently. They're not the ideal container. I got 2 different sizes. These are all from the Container Store. So these are Container Store brand bins because I like that they're completely see-through. I have some Sterilite ones, but they have these not see-through bins, lids. No, I didn't mention anything, Ryan, yet. How you doing? Well, Doc, you could use the TV. So I thought about Linus Tech Tips, Yaki, to circle back to the USB thing. Linus Tech Tips uses this really fancy fiber optic. They're like $500 long range, and that gives you Thunderbolt. So first of all, I think you have to use Thunderbolt, right? So you have to have a Thunderbolt connection. I don't think does AMD have Thunderbolt yet? Or is that like a weird situation? Anyways, I don't think I have Thunderbolt on my computer. So that's, one thing. But again, it's $500. Like, I don't need that much. Really, all I need to operate the whole stream is basically a keyboard and mouse, my Stream Deck, which is over here currently, because I want to be able to switch scenes on either side of my room. So a second Stream Deck. And I was experimenting with using my phone as a camera so I could have another angle. Just basically having because in a second I'll hopefully this works. Let me switch over here. Can you guys hear the mic again? I think it's working. So this is the desk. So this is the scene that we're going to switch to in a second, but I have to be over here to switch to it. So it'd be cool if I could be like, hey, let me walk over here or walk over there and do whatever. But I still want to be able to use my computer because, I don't know, maybe eventually I might do projects on the I was thinking my son, I was thinking of how I could get better at The Container Store is a container. Yeah, it's a container for smaller containers. Yeah, that's funny. My son really likes. Right now, he's into like music, kind of. Not like playing an instrument, but he. If you know the marble machine guy who built that huge marble machine thing, that was an instrument. So my son absolutely loves that thing. So he's all about anything that makes music, and not even like. He plays this game called Marble World, which is like this open sandbox PC game where you can build like these marble runs and stuff, but there's all bunch of instruments that you can play in that game. So he was making a marble run that would drop marbles on top of different drums and stuff, and it would just like make a different random beat. So he's, the gears are turning. He's 7. So, I can't go whole hog into trying to teach him electronics and stuff, but I figured that I want to get more into electronics. Watching you on a Sylvania CRT. Dang, I've got a Sylvania CRT. That's cool. I wonder what OEM, because I know Sylvania just rebranded that TV because I have seen other TVs that look exactly like my Sylvania TV. I don't know what OEM makes it though. I'd be curious to find out. Just got a drink. Marble machine thing. Yeah, it's insane. So anyways, I figured I would be able to make some kind of a Raspberry Pi Pico based something. I know they have different libraries. You can like have it play MP3 files, or you can have it. I'm just curious what's out there. I don't really know, but I know how to, rudimentarily, whatever. I know how to lay out PCB design things. So I figured that maybe I could make a little something with either buttons, or when you press a button, it would make a key go. So maybe just like a drum machine or something. That you could program. So I don't know, something like that. So I figured I could, that would be a big effort. So I'd have to, go make a breadboard design, make sure it works, and then I'd have to lay something out on the PCB with KiCad, and then get it made. So I don't know. That's the sort of thing that I like to do without the structure. That's just something I want to do in my life, not necessarily I want to make content about it, so that maybe I figured, we could talk about it here. So till the camera app, your head is out. Yeah, I'm oh yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we're gonna go over the box. All right, so this is the box that I have been collecting all mods that I haven't done yet. Or, well, that's a lie. There's something in there that I have done before, but it's never been on camera. So that was my very big backlog, and that doesn't even include everything and some stuff that would have been priority. So that's kind of like not prioritized mods. So I'm gonna like move it off camera because I don't know if there's any sensitive. Oh, whoops. So we can finally find out what's in the box, and then you guys can ask questions. I've got chat over here again, so let me do this. Boom. I wish I had another Stream Deck so that I could. I said I wouldn't do that. Oh, let's turn this on. Main screen, turn on. Okay, hold on. I'm just doing a thing. The box, TM, yeah. I don't know. Doesn't everybody have a box? What do you guys keep your mods in? Or do you? I can imagine some of you that are listening don't have any lying around mods, or would love to do mods that you don't have. I hope this doesn't come across as like, I don't know. This is. I also call this the box of shame. Jeff Chen on Twitter had it right, because this is all the stuff that I wish I could do. I just. Can you not hear me? Are we good? Everything's okay, hopefully. Could always get a old Dell for $100. That's true. I'm curious how much oomph you need to record. I mean, it's not like I'm pushing things to the limits, but okay. Hopefully it's just a delay and it's not. Okay, I'm gonna get into. I don't know. I'm just gonna skim stuff off the top. I know I've got a bunch of these. I don't really have any specific projects for these, but this was my inspiration for building a Raspberry Pi Pico-based thing for my son. But I have also, these are just Picos that I have lying around, but I also have some, maybe we'll just have to get there when we get there. I have some Pico Ws too, because I know that there are some projects that are going to use, yeah, what happened? Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, so this is nothing special. You guys have seen these. But, what is this? Oh, okay. Okay, so this is actually the sad box. I'm not going to talk too much about Postman, but I will. I don't know. Just makes me sad to think about it. So, think about you, Postman. This is the box of, so some of the things for the GGHD, the consolizer, the Game Gear consolizer, just leftover bits that I want to not throw out. This is very shiny baggies. But also, this is all the stuff that SYF sent me to make a new Game Gear. So this is still on the bucket list. I think I would like to, I sort of feel bad, actually, now that I think about that, whether I should not touch, last I knew my GGHD was not working because I was testing something. Why does it say, why does it say the battery is draining? That's not what you want to hear. Hopefully the stream doesn't explode. Okay, why is this not charging? Oh, it would help if it was plugged in, right? That's what you have to do with... Okay, I'm back. Okay, so anyways, this is all SYF stuff to make a new Game Gear motherboard. So everything is populated except for the ASIC spot, I believe. This is an old board that he gave me to test, and I just didn't get around to using it. So I would like to take this and transfer the GGHD guts into it. Or actually, this is a newer one, so I might use this newer one. But this newer one, SYF also gave me, he's got these other boards for, this is what? Soundboard. So this is a soundboard that it's the same color as the other one. So I figured maybe I would actually make a clear Game Gear or something, because some of the other mods that I haven't gotten to recently are the SYF. I can't remember. I think this is also called the GGHD. If I remember correctly, I gotta take my jacket off. It's hot in here. If I remember correctly, is it Ben or SYF? No, it's SYF had these. Oh, it is Ben. So it's made by SYF, but Ben's GGHD thing, the internal HDMI. This is I think I would have to talk to Rain. Rain X in my Discord knows a lot about SYF stuff as far as what products are named what, because I think I have a different thing too. So let's get through this box. But this is just some miscellaneous Game Gear boards and things. So this kind of is why this box just hangs out in there. So, okay, fine. Oh, I can't close it. Come on. Well, this box is the worst. Thrilling watching somebody just open a box and close it. So that's the first thing. All right, then what's next here? And these are in not any priority order, so this is just kind of a random smattering of things. So this, I believe, is the Saturn switcher. So now that I have a Sega Saturn and a Fenrir, but when you do the Fenrir, you can't use the CD player anymore, or the disc drive on the Sega Saturn. So this is the Saturn switcher mod from, I think it's Will's Console Mods. Don't change white power on. I don't know. It says something, but Will doesn't put his name on the tops of the PCBs. It might be on the bottom. I think it's Will. Oh yeah, it says that Will's Console Mods. Yep. So this kind of goes in between the Sega Saturn and the Fenrir, and allows you to still be able to use the disk drive by flipping a switch. And I think it is a mount also for an SD card, if I remember correctly. So I've got that to do. This should not be hard. I don't think there's any soldering required. I think it's just a matter of replacing cables and things to get it installed. But it was just pretty much low priority, unfortunately. And if you're wondering how I decide priority, it's pretty much, I don't know. If it's a new shiny thing, that usually takes priority over the lesser known things. So that's why I was focusing recently on Project Stellar, which we did last live stream, and the other one is Gem, but I've not successfully done Gem yet. So still waiting on a new replacement flex cable. So that's not going to be in this packaging. Need that. Yep. I mean, you know, I don't necessarily. So part of the problem was I guess some people would not consider it a problem. I keep forgetting I can walk around my room and still be able to talk. Part of my initial YouTube strategy, once I kind of, you know, like year one, because I've been doing this for about 3 years ish, around the middle of the first year of the pandemic. So my original strategy was basically just to buy all the mods, you know, buy as many mods as I could, and that would be my defining personality trait, was just to have mods. No, I'm just kidding. It was basically quantity over quality, right? So just make as many videos about installing mods as possible, and not necessarily focus on things like reviewing them. So, yeah. So that's why I just have so many things. And, you know, as a retro mod person, I guess I'm a collector as well, retro mod collector at this point, because I have some old, you know, that's what it is, really. It's a collection of mods. It's not necessarily a setup. It's not my setup, you know what I mean? So, okay, so let's move on. This next box. Oh, okay, so this is another thing that is just going to live in here for now. This is the 8BitDo, and I say I'm gonna need like a button, like a sound clip that I can press on like my Stream Deck that says why I call it 8BitDo still, because everybody is or something. Most people get mad, not mad, but I get comments about why do I say that, or it's 8BitDo instead of 8BitDo. Long story short, I believe in Chinese the character representation for 8BitDo is similar looking to Nintendo. So I think the original intent from the creators was to mimic Nintendo with 8BitDo, because otherwise 8BitDo, I don't know. So that's what I'm going to stick with that. So I think it is actually called, it's like some grand conspiracy. Anyway, so the problem is so this is a replacement controller PCB for the Saturn controller. It is pretty neat. So it has the built-in wireless battery, and here's the antenna here. The problem is I don't have usually for any console that I have, if I don't have any accessories, I try to get some controllers if I can. Just original controllers, and I usually like to leave some of them not modified, right? So I just like to have the original controllers lying around. But the problem with the Saturn is I only bought my Saturn recently when I did the Fenrir and the Saturn BIOS mod or whatever I did. So I only have one controller, one wired controller. So I haven't put this in because I need to get another controller, at least the case, right? I don't know. Does anybody sell then the buttons, I suppose. Is there a way to get a replacement controller parts, like the membranes and the buttons and the controller shell, and just drop one of these in? Because that would be ideal, I suppose, because I don't really care. I just wanted to test it. Because I also have the Retrobit Sega Saturn controller. I hope the volume still is okay, because I was worried that it might clip or anything. So anyway, so I have one of these lying around. I just haven't done anything with it yet. So this is just a replacement for the Saturn. That's why this is in the box of shame. I need to get a case or a shell for a Saturn controller. Then I also need, since this is a Bluetooth, hopefully that's not too annoying. Since this is a Bluetooth controller, it will work with the Blue Retro adapter, or any Blue Retro adapter. And I probably would get the, I don't know what it's called, the one that Humble Bazooka makes. They make one for like the Neo Geo, and it's really cool looking 3D printed shell thing. So I you know, there's a lot of things holding me back on this one particular mod to do, so it just didn't. Feel free to ask me any questions too if you have any questions about things you want me to talk about in the future or mods to do. Okay, so I'm going to try to hide the bottom because it has this next one. So what is this? Oh gosh. Okay, wait. I got to cross out Dan's name and my name on this package. I don't know if that's enough. Probably not. Can I rip this label off easily? No, probably not. Oh, no. Ugh. Okay, fine. I'm just going to cross out the name for the 2 seconds it's going to be on here. Okay, just because this box opens weird. Okay. Oh, that's funny because it's just on the top. Okay. So this is the, I don't necessarily know why I bought this, but this was a Hardware Revision 2 of the DC Digital. The installation is exactly the same, I think. I don't think there's any difference. This is a drop-in replacement. So I don't really know why I bought this. I figured since it was new, this was the last, I believe, or no, I guess maybe the N64 Digital might have been one of the last runs, but I just have one of these. I don't know why. And I'm kind of unsure what to do about mods that I probably wouldn't ever make a video. Even if I was still making videos, I probably wouldn't with this because I think the installation is the same as the one I already have a video of. So I don't know. Maybe maybe I can like mod a console, like get a good looking console on eBay, clean it, recap it or whatever, and then put these mods in and then sell it. I don't know, to try to make some, because there's still some things that I need to buy, even if I'm not making videos and not like going that route anymore. So anyways, yeah, this is one thing I don't really know what to do with it other than hold on to it. And I think it's still fine. It's still, you know, still good mod for your Dreamcast. I don't think it's any different than the Gem, really, in terms of video output, because they should all use the Pixel Effects framework. Okay, so this is more cool pink packaging. I don't remember who this is from. I think this actually might have been just straight from Ben Ven. So this is the newer GGHD thing from Ben Ben. So this is an internal. It mounts internally onto a Game Gear motherboard inside of a real. Basically, this was meant to mount inside of a real. Not like a consoleized Game Gear. So it was meant to go into a normal console. And then you would have, so this is a Tang Nano 9K. So this is the FPGA dev board that kind of is this is doing the lifting, and then this is the actual output, HDMI output. As far as I know, you could use this and a screen at the same time. So that's kind of a semi-ideal consoleized setup, I guess. Well, especially if you're the kind of person that, well, let's say you did want to stream Game Gear. Well, actually, I think there is a caveat that you can't get audio from the HDMI from this, I think. So you'd have to capture the audio separately. But let's say you wanted to stream Game Gear, you playing Game Gear, and you wanted to do it so that you were playing on the Game Gear, using the Game Gear buttons and things, but then have a capture go out to your stream or something. So this would be kind of all self-contained. This is like an interposer type thing. This gets soldered somehow onto those. I don't know. There's some a row of pins, and actually these kind of interface with the SYF boards too somehow. But I know that these line up with the Tang board, something like that. So it goes together like this, and then you use this extension to go out from the Tang board, and then this port sticks out the side of the Game Gear. I think you have to cut a hole, and I think this was designed to go out the extension port, the EXT port or something. So I was curious, back when I was doing the GGHD, I was curious what the output difference would be between that GGHD, the Gamebox consolizer, and this. So I have it, and I have, yeah, I guess I have a Game Gear I could put it in. I just, it was just not a priority. So they don't fit. So anyways, pretty cool, and definitely something I would like to do for sure. Let's see, moving right along. So this is also some things I was starting to collect. Again, it's another Tang Nano 9K, and there's some kind of a what are these? Arduino Pro Micro? Touch it with your tongue, yeah. Hey, Fenris, how you doing? These are just generic Arduino Micros, I believe, or Nanos, or whatever they are. So these, I think this was supposed to be maybe for maybe the consoleized Wonder Swan, maybe something like that. I never bought a. Oh wait, no, I have the Wonder Swan. Yeah, I have some Wonder Swans. Oh, that's right. I'm kind of waiting for a flash cart because I only have one or two games, and some of them are in Japanese. I was just waiting to get a flash cart for the Wonder Swan. Because I know that there's at least a beta form of a consolizer that Zwenergy made for the Wonder Swan, and it uses the Tang Nano. And I think everything is already finished. I think the layout, PCB layout is done, so I think it's just a matter of getting the PCB, putting the firmware on it, and then soldering it all together, and then you have a Wonder Swan consolizer. I'm not sure if there's a case for it yet or not. I'll have to dive back into this project because that's what I bought this originally for, this Tang Nano 9K. But I got one I have that one for the GGHD, so I just have a couple of these lying around now. So, yep. All right, so this is something interesting. Actually, I have a demo. Not a demo, but so this was sort of an interesting find. I don't exactly remember where I found about this project. This is the triple controller. It's this guy named Timville or girl or person on Tindy called Timville, and it's essentially a NES controller, Genesis, or Super Nintendo controller to USB controller. So you could use any of these these wired controllers with something like Mister or a computer. So that was a triple controller, but now recently they've actually released the four adapter. So this is just one I soldered up already. I bought two of these because I bought two of the triple controller because they're so good. I mean, it's. I suppose you could dedicate your money to doing snack, like if you have a Mister setup. Snack is probably better than this, to be honest, because actually, apparently this project is based off of Damon Byte. So there's this Damon Byte USB adapter project, and I've heard that that's pretty decent as far as latency. So it's low latency. So that's why I had no problem, going and making these triple controllers because they were kind of cool. So the four adapter is essentially has an N64 controller, which is useful for obviously the N64 Mister Core. So kind of cool. And then it has, on the other side, it has the other two, and then it has, so actually there's an interesting, I would like to do a stream of this because I have a second kit, and this is, if you're curious, this is, this is ASA. If anybody knows about high temperature 3D printing filaments, I believe this is PLA. The triple controller here is PLA. But I am not a huge fan of PLA. I just feel like long term there's going to be issues. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's something that I printed for myself. and as long as I remember where the files are, I can always reprint them in the future. However, I don't know. I don't have a super good love for any kind of 3D printed anything really that people pay for, especially if it's a little bit more pricey. I've gotten in trouble for saying that, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. The upside to PLA is that it's very easy to print. It's pretty easy to print on a basic printer. You don't really need anything fancy. The problem with the high temp, so this is ASA, so this is not ABS, but I think ASA is a type of plastic that they invented for cars or something. It has good UV resistance too, so it's not just temperature resistant. So if you put this PLA in like a very hot car, I guess it depends on what state you live in, what you consider hot, but or if you leave it in direct sunlight. This is even PLA Pro. I guess I should do an experiment. I should experiment and see if it's actually true that PLA weakens over time. That I know it's not weakened. There's like other terminology, like filament creep or something. Spicer in my Discord would know what the heck I'm talking about. But so, anyways, this is ASA, and it's kind of, it looks fine. It prints okay, and and now it's more temperature resistant and UV resistant. So you could leave, in theory, you could leave this out in a hot car, and it should, if I've been told correctly, it would last over time more. So that's why I would rather print things in the high temp filament. I do have this interesting thing that I 3D printed also out of ASA. See, it can look good. I mean, it doesn't look 100% perfect compared to PLA. PLA definitely has a really good surface finish. Hi, Eugene. But yeah, I printed it with a brim. So that's why you see these white marks here, is because I had to cut off the brim afterward. Anyway, so I'm a nerd, and I spent a lot of money on that Voron, so I'm like I'm not shilling because I'm not like getting any money for Voron, but like I'm trying to find a use for my Voron. Not a use, but you know what I mean? An excuse to, to say my Voron was worth it. So anyways, for adapter, I have a second kit, so I would definitely like to put one of these together and program it, I think. Oh, I'm waiting for additional Pro Micros. These run off of Arduino Pro Micros. So I bought some on AliExpress. So I am waiting a little bit on the parts to put these together. That's why this is not, doesn't have the Arduino inside of it yet. But there's some differences actually. Every port pretty much on the new one, the 4 adapter is flush mounted. So you can see on the old one, like where the USB port or USB-C port is, it's goes in there, like it's not flush to the outside, whereas on the 4 adapter it's flush. Same with all the, it's not really that super important for the controller parts, but everything is flush on the new case. And I think Dinero, I don't know how you pronounce their name, but they designed this updated one, which is pretty cool. So anyways, 4 adapter, triple controller, pretty cool projects. You gotta have to scour on, or you have to sign up for the emails on Tendo if you want to get the PCBs, because they're not open source, but the PCBs are pretty affordable. So if you're looking for a project where you want to, it's something easy for, if you're a beginner solderer, this is a pretty easy project. If you're a beginner at flashing firmware or like uploading firmware, it's pretty easy. So anyways, that's 4 adapter for the future. Moving right along. All right, next. Please don't tell me this is more garbage for... Oh, okay. This is a random NES RGB multi-out thing. Quick QSB. So this is to upgrade. I have the snap fit connector part somewhere in a box. And actually, if you are not new to my channel and you watched some of my older videos, the NES RGB that I did kind of most recently with the multi-out was actually not my NES. So I don't currently have an NES that has been NES RGB modded that has a multi-out, because I gave that to the person that let me borrow it to do the video. So I have somewhat related, and I guess I'll reintroduce it because it's gonna come back in another. Let's see. Is that gonna be easy to do? Where is it? Dang, I kind of reorganized everything. That thing saved so much time. Yes, it did. Yeah, if you've ever done the legit original NES RGB and just that mountain of wires. Okay, I reorganized everything in my room, and now I can't find the thing that I reorganized. Oh, it's up here. Dang. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll pull it out. Okay, so this is the Open Tendo. Yeah, one of the problems I have is that I have this like popcorn ceiling. I think it's the asbestos kind, and it just comes off the ceiling on these bins a lot, and that's annoying. And I don't know. Yeah, so this is probably what that's going to go into. So this is the Open Tendo, right? And I have another part that we're going to get into in a few later in the box, but this has the Merlin Shaw, the original Merlin Shaw board that I knew about, which was just the one that had just composite. So this is like and the analog video or left and right audio. I think it just duplicates it or they're both mono. But anyway, so I have that, but it stopped working. And somewhere in the box, is it in the box or is it here? Oh, is it here? Might be in this bin. Oh no, this is just an empty box. I have to mail this. I have to mail this old the power board back to Merlin Shaw so that he can take a look at it. It's been a long time actually since I've talked to him. I feel bad, Merlin, if you're watching this or someone contacts him. It's been a very long time, probably 3 or 4 months, maybe more, that he's sent me some stuff. So it was not prioritized. So, okay, so this is the Open Tendo build. It just doesn't have a good power board right now, so that's why it's kind of in this box. But it also is going to receive. I wanted to get a clear NES shell for this. So if you're watching, Ryan, or if you're watching and you still want to send me one of those clear NES shells, I still have a lot of content that I can make, even if it's a stream, about building out a multi-out instead of well, right now it's got no RGB, actually. It's got no NES RGB. I have we'll get into that later. But so I guess I'll keep this together because this is the multi-out, and that goes with, or that's the QSB for the multi-out, which goes with that. So see, we're organizing. This is not a waste. This is fun. Okay, what's next? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is something cool and also kind of sad. This, I never know how to pronounce this name. Guess? I hope this doesn't have my name on it. Okay, it doesn't look like it does. Guess? I don't know. Guess? Gus? This is the, what do they call it? Methylene. It's a PlayStation 2 Slim internal blue retro adapter that supports wired controller detection, and it has some kind of a IGR, like you can reset like a built-in IGR. So this is a kick-ass, it seems like a kick-ass thing, and it should be pretty cool to put it into a Slim. Now, the reason, well, obviously I haven't made a video about it, but this is a challenging thing to install, because the PS2 Slim that I did have, that I was going to put this in, was the one that I was going to re-put Gem into. That's the one I originally failed installing Retro Gem into. So I have both a Slim and a Fat, and I failed on both. It's anyone's guess. Oh, Matrix. That was funny. That's great. No, so seriously, I have the PS2 in parts right now, the Slim. And I actually have the screws and stuff. This is what happens when you start putting things into the iFixit, the top of the screwdriver container thing. You lose your screwdriver container, and then it just becomes a bin to hold screws. So if anybody has a a cool way of knowing, a cool way of storing screws or whatever that's cheap, but you can like stack them or something. Sean, yeah, I did see the flex cable thing. That's pretty neat. So, yeah, I mean, I was sort of experimenting with. So, anyways, this is from a PS2 Slim. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but I've got it. I don't think it'll be that difficult to install, but the thing with PS2 is I don't really know that much about. I really just knew enough for me to make the gem video in the sense of, you know, loading games through OPL. But I did kind of experiment with 3D printed tray. Yeah, I'll have to do that because I definitely want to have a few on hand. But I do, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I want ones that kind of stack, but also might have a lid or they kind of stay. If they got jostled or something, they would still like keep their segmentation or something. So, what was I gonna say about the PS2? Oh yeah, so I had the PS2 Fat, which I have a hard drive in it, but the first PS2. So okay. Let me take a step back. I failed installing Gem in a PS2 Slim, so then Dan sent me another kit. A different kit. So I have 2 Gem boards now, and they're both going to go into those 2 PS2s. It's just a matter of getting the new flex cables, the additional flex cables. So, but then I failed the second time on the Fat PlayStation 2, and I had to buy a second PlayStation 2 of the same model. So I have both. So like that's when I think that I'm going to actually succeed at is the new one that I just got. But one of the problems with the first Fat PS2 that I had was for some reason it did not detect. I had the SATA to IDE thing. I had the Bitfunks one. That's the only Bitfunks thing I've ever bought. That's a lie. I bought the M2, the MX4 SIO. That's also from I don't know who the original manufacturer for that is, but I don't know if it's them or whatever. But just basically PS2 stuff. Just those kind of cheaper things. It didn't detect the hard drive for whatever reason. So I was experimenting things with like loading games or using OPL to load games from the network, and that kind of worked okay. So there's a lot of different. My solder mat has magnets. Yeah, I have a mat that has fill holder. Rip. Anyway, so. Yeah, I'm not super happy with myself that I failed to install Gem, but you know, it's coming and I'm just waiting for Dan. Because right now Dan is dealing with giving actual customers their stuff, so I'm trying not to bother him with, hey, can you send me another flex cable or whatever. So eventually it'll happen, but obviously it doesn't need to happen right this minute. Oh, here's the rest of the Picos I was looking for, but these are all Pico W's. A certain redfish almost talked me out of installing an NES RGB into your AV Famicom. Well, yeah, Sean, you're right about the IDE to SATA thing. So here's some Pico W's. I don't even remember why did I buy Pico W's? There's some project that was coming out that was supposed to use them. I think maybe a new revision of Pico Boot might have used Wi-Fi. I thought there was another project though recently that that came out that needed the W specific variant. So I bought 4. I don't know because they're so cheap. It do be like that. Yeah. Well. Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I would like to. I know a little bit about programming these. I've already kind of got into it when I was experimenting with my Extron auto switcher thing. But yeah, I want to make that thing for my son. Some kind of I don't know, musical instrument thing where just you press buttons and it goes. Okay, moving right along. This is another good one. This is everything. This is everything to make the Neo Geo CD SD card thing. Is everything out of here? Well, there's a thing in there. Oh, and I got a special. I don't know why I'm squirreling away this SD card. How big is? Oh, 64 gig. Yeah. So this is the. I believe this is Furtek. Yep, Furtek. Made this. So definitely super interested in doing this. I mean, I'm only mildly interested, but I know that the Neo Geo CD. I don't know. Can the Neo Geo CD play every Neo Geo game or only the Neo Geo CD games? And is there a lot of overlap between the Neo Geo? Like, I never had a Neo Geo anything. I never really even knew what it was until kind of recently. So I do have, actually, I'll get in another box. Oh, God. As I smash it. Oh man, this is a nasty. Well, this dust didn't come from me. Now I just got it all over the place. So I do have the CD. How do you? Oh, there we go. I've got a Neo Geo CD, and I've got. Okay, it only plays the CD games. So. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. Oh, that has worse load times. It's kind of not worth it. Yeah. I mean, I really only got this for the video, but it is a cool looking console. Other than the fact that it is. Massive. I mean, it's like almost, if it were a little taller and a little bit wider, it would probably be about the same size as an original Xbox, which is, it's not as heavy as an original Xbox, but it's heavy. So it is a nice looking console. This one is not because it's dirty, but it definitely looks really sweet. And yeah, so look at that. Look at the video outputs. And I have a JGO adapter. I think this is from Stone Age Gamer, I guess. I have the power adapter for it. I just need to, I just need to mod it. So, I don't know. Does the Neo Geo CD have RGB output already? So I'm not going to put that mod in this box so that I can remember where it is. Or actually, I should probably, huh? Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this in that box so that I don't lose it. Neo Geo CD has very bad load times. Oh, it improves it then? Neat. The mounting suggestion he has for keeping the CD through the vents wasn't my favorite. Have to bend stuff. Yeah, I do. Is there other people that have worked on other additions to this, like different places to put the SD card or something? If you have any recommendations before I touch this, like obviously when we get there, but I guess you can let me know now if I have to order something or whatever. Is there anything else that I need with the kit for the kit? I don't know if anybody else has made anything else that would help with that Neo Geo. Oh, and I guess I have the 8-bit-do Neo Geo controller. All I would need is the Neo Geo or Neo BT from Humble Bazooka, the Blue Retro adapter, and I could have basically a Neo Geo CD controller on a Neo Geo CD that has RGB. Okay, neat. Oh yeah, that's right, because it uses the same, or you use the adapter thing for the HD Retrovision cables, the Genesis ones, I believe. Yeah. So, all right, what's next? Yeah, 8-bit-do. 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 Okay, so this is from, I do not remember who sent me these. Well, I'm not going to say the name, but these are, someone sent me some. Sometimes if it's something I don't know what it is, it just kind of goes in there too. Skimzor? I don't know. These are some replacement Game Boy Color. This one's for the Game Boy Color. This one might be for the original Game Boy. Just replacement PCBs, but there's no... I don't have any of the BOM, so I just have these PCBs that somebody sent me. So it was... Oh, sorry. Sorry if this was out of the frame. Yeah, these are for the Game Boy. So I definitely would like to... If anything, if I was going to do any project, I really want to do the bucket mouse, MGCP. What is it called? The one where you put the color processor in the... No, I don't remember. Is the pocket? It might be the Pocket one. Whatever one is that is the form factor of the Pocket. I know that has the worst battery life, that version of the Bucket Mouse mod. But I just really like the Pocket. I like the form. I bought one at Retro World, just a regular unmodded Pocket. And oh god, my Wonder Swan just yeeted onto the floor. A good one too. Hopefully it's fine. So that's the other problem. I was trying to fix clutter and stuff in there. But yeah, does it have batteries? Ooh, it does. And loops. It is a sweet form factor. Oh, watch, it didn't. Oh, contrast. Hello. Oh, there we go. Anyway, so I do enjoy the Pocket profile, how it doesn't have the bump. So I think the Bucket Mouse, I don't know what's going on with this. The Bucket Mouse one is basically putting the Game Boy Color processor into the Pocket form factor. So the ironic thing is I bought a Game Boy Pocket, thinking that I would need one, although I don't think I will. I think I'll just have to I could buy all new parts, like Funny Playing case, I think. Or no, not Funny Playing. It uses a different screen beside the Funny Playing case. But I really do want to, because I don't know, something about those really tiny Game Boys and just to have the full functionality at least. I guess the ultimate would be if somebody put a Game Boy Advance into a Pocket or at least a DMG or something like that. That'd be kind of cool, I think. But I have a couple of Game Boy Colors. So I have the Game Boy Color processor. Although I wish I had gotten a beat up. I wish I got a beat up Game Boy because I feel bad about ripping the CPU out of an okay system. I mean, when I say okay, I mean they're not high quality. They're not top tier. They still got scratches and stuff, but hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. All right, next package. Oh, okay. So if anybody knows. So I actually made an entire video about this and never released it. This is the Intech Gaming Game Boy Advance consolizer thing. Now, I'll give you the 10-second tour. Really cool install. It uses pogo pins. I do like the case, the case is injection molded and not 3D printed. I like the smoke color of it. However, and I like that it uses I just like this system, like the feel of it and stuff. However, the actual consolizer is not great. Now, to what degree it's not great, I was having I kind of struggled with the actual quote-unquote review of that one and like my thoughts about it. And I just kind of felt like Bob already covered it. That it was not great. I think, long story short, they used some kind of, I don't know, analog to digital converter that's like the wrong type to use or something. You work with Colin. Hey, Sappy Pinus. Nice. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Anyway, so this thing I have, and I ordered it through the Kickstarter, the Intech Gaming Kickstarter. And if you bought one with the Kickstarter, you got this free gift. And the free gift is, well, okay. When you build this, basically you take the guts of a Game Boy Advance motherboard out. So you take the motherboard out and you put it in this new shell, but then you're left with just a empty controller shell. So the Intech Gaming people, they did, when you included with the original parts for this, they actually do include a PCB that makes a wired Super Nintendo controller out of the old. Oh, I have it right here. I don't know why I'm like, I have everything just in the cabinet. So here's the actual. It's like a controller, right? So the PCB is inside. And it's just a wire controller, essentially. Now, Intech Gaming, they made a wireless controller PCB, why can't they just make and sell these two things? If you can just make and sell the controller adapter things. Like, I don't understand. This is like, people would find these useful. I don't even know how good this is. It may not be good, but, you know, the idea is great. Being able to make a Super Nintendo controller with any kind of... You could buy a brand new Game Boy Advance shell and buttons and stuff and make a fake controller if you really wanted this look, you know, if you didn't want to break or take apart a thing. So I don't know. I think this is cool. A cool idea, but I haven't gotten to installing or testing the wireless drop-in board. So I've got it. I do have... Oops, I might have just doxed myself. I do have other Game Boy Advance shells as well from other Game Boy consolizer builds. So I have the shells. So maybe I'll just do it and then I can test it out or we could test it out one day if I'm doing, I don't know, I'm sure I'm going to be doing some Game Boy stuff sometime in the future. So that's pretty cool. You could sync it with the Game Boy Advance, the GBA HDS Bluetooth, and it works. Probably works with Blue Retro too. Latency worth testing. Yeah. So that's the other thing, is how do you really test these Bluetooth, the latency of the Bluetooth stuff? I'm curious how. I think actually Mr. Addons just does wired testing. I don't know if he does wireless testing. But if I had something like douche lag, this Wenergy lag tester thing, you could test. You could do at least A/B comparisons between a wired controller, get your average millisecond latency, and then switch over to the wireless one and see. But you'd have to modify the board and stuff. And it's just a big pain in the butt. Anyway, so I don't know. I have this thing. Maybe it was a waste of money, but it was still cool. I really liked the pogo pins. I liked the controller PCB that they gave you to make the case a Super Nintendo controller. I thought that was a great idea. It does wireless. Okay. Well, I'll have to look into that. All right. I have these random addressable RGB lights. So this is pretty old. I don't even know if I'm going to talk about this. No. Oh, I did get an HDR sticker. Look at that. Boom. Shout out to HDR. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this. This is some head crab stuff for making a Game Boy Advance GBA HD, or no, for making the Game Boy consolizer, I believe, Game Boy Advance consolizer that I bought a long time ago, and I just haven't done anything with it. So that is what I got. Can't stream without saying douche lag. Oh my God, every single time. I know I'm going to have to say that a billion times. Hi, Hugo. How you doing? Okay, moving along. What's this? Oh, baby. I'm never going to do anything with this, unfortunately. However, everybody should know what it is because it's kind of the original replacement, at least on my radar. This is the first time that I ever saw a project that was a replacement PCB for the NES. Or what did I say? PCB? Replacement power supply. Or, you know, this power board. So, is that his name? Project Phoenix? I don't... Doesn't say... Oh, the real Phoenix. That's what it is. Okay, so Bordy made this. This is called the NES IO project. And what's interesting about this is this was an attempt... the first attempt essentially to make a true no-cut NES RGB by replacing the power board with this, and then you can put the signals for the NES RGB here. So instead of going to a multi-out or to like cutting a hole in the case like the original one, this had Genesis 2 output. So you can, and this is S-Video. So you have a barrel jack for power, you have S-Video, you have the Genesis 2, and you have composite still and a mono audio output. So essentially this is like a decked out thing. Now, I should have, when I first got this, there was pretty small batches of it, and I think the Real Phoenix messed up on flashing one of the chips somewhere, and he emailed me about it, and he said, hey, do you want me to replace or to flash it for you, like if you mail it back? And I said no, way back when, because I thought, that's another excuse to make a video. So even if I did install this, it would still need to be fixed first. It would need to be flashed, one of these chips. So I'd have to figure out how to do that, get a flasher. So I don't know. Maybe I should see if Real Phoenix can upgrade it for me. But I also think that the Genesis 2, because this is supposed to come out where the composite video normally came out, I think. Or no, something. Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's a switch. The RF switch maybe is here. I think you still need to cut a hole in your case, the NES case, to fit the cable through there if you've got a thick one. So this is a Genesis. I felt wrong having a Genesis output on an NES. That's the other real reason I didn't do this, because this is such a messed up concept. But it's cool if you enjoy the concept of no cut and it worked. I don't know, something maybe we can experiment it. Oh, he has a flasher. Maybe. Yeah, if I can get the file and I can send it to him, maybe it's something that CEO. I know CEO is busy with school and he's working on stuff, so making stuff. So not super important, especially because we have other somewhere in here. Somewhere is more of those power boards, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So perhaps I have them in the wrong bin. I'll have to go hunt for those. Okay, so I'm getting rid of one of these LEDs. What the heck? Get out of here. Okay, what's next? A couple of random things. This is, what is this? Oh, you know what this is? Holy cow. Okay, holy cow. Oh, he's a flasher. No, don't say that to CEO. CEO is a gentleman and a scholar. This is some memorabilia. I should assemble this, even if I never intend to solder it. This is a essentially a collaboration between Fraggle Rock and Zaxor. This is just a generic Super Nintendo mod chip, Super Nintendo RGB mod chip, I think. So it's not necessarily anything special. When we have, Voltar has these for sale and other people have them for sale, whatever. I think Bordy has a version, whatever. I just thought it was cool that I think this was laid out by probably Zaxor at the time, but it makes me think of Fraggle Rock and Fraggle Tech, if you guys remember him. So he sent me this. Oh, and this was like a little QSB thing that you soldered on the bottom of the Super Nintendo Junior. So that way you didn't have to solder directly to the vias. You could solder these pads instead. So pretty cool. If anybody remembers Fraggle, then you'll appreciate that. Yeah, he's gone. I don't 100% know what he's doing. I think he's probably fine. He was a teacher and stuff, but he's trying to make another account and do different, like hiking or some kind of like outdoor, another account just do outdoor stuff. But I just think he was over it. I think he got in it. I don't really know. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I think he was just kind of over. I don't have anything currently. Oh, I talked about the DC digital that I have, the version 2 one. I don't know why I have that, but I do have something. Just probably not going to do anything with it. Okay, so let's move on. So I've got a GC loader. This was not the most recent one. This is the version, but this was the release before the most recent release. So this is not the new hardware one, unfortunately. And I've also got a GC Dual. So I bought both of these because I don't have a video on either. I actually I do have a GC dual modded GameCube, but I did it before I started the YouTube channel. So I never recorded a video. And the GC loader is plug and play, so there's no real soldering or modding or anything. So I didn't really ever make a new thing to that. But yeah, I don't know. I I don't think anybody's gonna sell GC Dual anymore. I don't know if they even if the parts are available anymore. But I mean, something that we could do, I suppose. I could. Again, this might be for maybe this could be a console that I get a nice looking GameCube, clean it up, do the caps or whatever, and then do both of these mods because I think this is like a pretty good setup, and then sell it and move on to the next thing because I already have these, and you know there's duplicates. So, and I always wanted to make videos of them. I suppose that's why I held on to them and not gotten rid of it sooner. So this is that. So this, I don't 100% know what this mount was for. Is this for the Saturn or is this for the Neo Geo? Was this the Neo Geo CD one? I don't know, and I can't remember who made them either. I'm bad about keeping track of people's names, but to be fair, there are lots of people's names. So, I think this was for the Neo Geo CD, so it's like a mount for it. So I think maybe I'm going to use this. Either that or this was for the Saturn, but I thought it might be for the CD. I don't know. So I have this. It's pretty cool. So that goes along. I'm going to put that in the bin with the mod. The Neo Geo, I mean. Okay, so we're kind of getting to the bottom of this package, but I do have to find somewhere maybe he didn't send them to me yet. Maybe that's why. Okay, I'll have to talk to Merlin because I do want to get that Open Tendo build up and running. I just haven't. Obviously haven't gotten into that. I think this is a nothing burger. Nothing in that. Okay, here's the thing. Is this the one that Arthremis made? So I have two. Ooh, I don't know where the other one is. Oh, it might be in the container with the Game Boy. I don't know why I did that. I like split the unused mods into different bins. I guess I just did that with the Neo Geo, didn't I? I believe this is Arthremis. Yeah. So Arthremis made a implementation of it's not the GC Dual per se, but it does use the GC Video project. So this was a version of an HDMI mod for the Wii. And here's the other side. So this is an older one. So I have this. We could do this. I don't know what versions of the Wii. I'll have to look up actually for all these mods, I'll have to look up the documentation because it's been so long that I do not know. I don't know what how to do some of them. Let's see, what is in here? I think this is just flex cables. Okay. Okay, I think the last thing I have from this bin is this, and I don't know if I'll ever get back do this, but I have a Modbo 5. So this is a PS2 mod chip, like in the traditional sense. So like you could play burned discs. Am I wearing my anti-static? No, I'm not. So, anyways, Modbo. Maybe someday I'll put that into a thing. So let's see. That's the end of the bin. However, it's not the end of my mods. All right, let's start with the ones that I know where they are. Oh, maybe it's in here? I don't know why I would put that in here, but no, I don't think it's in there. But here's this. Okay, so I have one thing over here. It's quite a few things in here. However, not all of them need to be modded. Well, okay, so what is this? Sorry, okay, that's that. That's that. Okay, so I have this PC Engine Duo R, but I think the only thing I need to do to it right now, I think there's RGB mods for this, right? I don't think this had RGB output, but it needs to get the caps replaced at least, because I don't think that the caps are good, or maybe that was the original one. But I have this, and this is something I bought from Buy when I did that Buy stuff. So, anyways, it works okay. I tested that part, and I have the oh, look at that! That's where my Turbo EverDrive is. So I've got that to test it now. But I also have a Core Graphics, and I have a Turbo Nanza. So I've got to do this, because this is, shout out to Zaxor. This was a kind of unnecessary mod that he made, I suppose, because I suppose at the time he made it, the SSDS3 was available, right? Because that would have been both an ODE or a flash cart and an HDMI mod, but it also did RGB output. I don't think the stock AV port here can do RGB, but some of the pins on the extension port in the back here did have. Oh, and you're right, Matrix. There is the new PCB for the PC Engine. I don't know how susceptible these PCBs are to noise or anything, but I think mine's still in good quality, although I never opened it up. Anyway, so I have this, and I've got so they made, you can either get the SSDS3, which I already said, but that was pretty expensive actually. That's like what, $300, something like that. But you get both a flash cart and an ODE. But then you can get the spark plug if you have HuCard games. You can get the spark plug, which is just a simple, has RGB on it, or output from the extension port here. But then Zaxor came along and made that same mod essentially, but internal, so that it takes out this original plug and puts a Genesis 2 plug in there. And then you have an RGB modded. Well, not that it needed to be modded if you use one of those adapters, but just something interesting to do to a PC Engine. So, want to support. Oh, looks like there's some kind of growed. I got to take this apart and clean it out. But I got that, so that's pretty cool. I've got to recap both of those things, both the PCFX and the Core Graphics, or what did I say? The Duo R is what I meant. Duo R and the Core Graphics. I got to recap them both. Okay, I think that's everything there. Now let's see, what else I got? I guess the gem, I mean, there's nothing really to look at because some of that stuff's in boxes, in the console / in this box. I have two gem mods. Like I kind of told that story already. I'm waiting for flex cables. Oh, here we go. I can talk about this. All right. So I already did a video on the 8BitDo N64 replacement N64 wireless board. So make a OEM N64 controller into a wireless Bluetooth controller. But I bought a second one. I couldn't really help myself. I bought a second kit, but I also bought some kitch bent sticks, because both of the controllers that I had from my childhood essentially they're pretty much clapped out. they're not great, as you can kind of see. I'm not, like, these are not being actuated yet. This is just the floppiness of the stick. They're both like that. So I was just curious to how well the kitch bent stuff, which is like you could buy these pieces, but I wanted to look up how to properly install and prepare them, because I know there's some technique where you can make it better, not better than stock maybe. I don't think there's ever going to be a replacement that was as good as the OEM stick was when it was good still. But I've heard that you can get pretty well by lubing or modifying those kitch bent things somehow. Oh, I can talk about that. But first we'll talk about this. Does this have the thing in it? Why did I do this? See, this is dumb. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is one of the things I've been looking for. Just under the other thing. Okay, so I have a clear 8-bit Do uses the original sticks. It can use the original sticks, yep. So the PCB is compatible with them, but you could also buy an optional Hall effect thing. So you could use the you could use that floppy stick. Yeah, you could use the OEM module if you want to. So I have a AVE HDMI. So this is the Electron Shepherd Wii HDMI board, the new one. So I have this, and I have my childhood Wii, which is when I did my Ashita video. The Ashita is the Wii handheld the portable that I made. I didn't want to buy a whole Wii that was compatible because I needed to cut it up anyways. So I didn't want to buy an entire Wii, four layer, I think is the type that are more easily hardware modded and cut down. I didn't want to buy a whole 4-layer Wii, so I just bought a 4-layer Wii motherboard. But the problem was I needed to soft mod it still, so I took my stock consoles, my stock Wii, which is not compatible with the Ashita trim, and I gutted it and I put the motherboard into the guts of my stock console. So I have all the guts of my childhood Wii, and it is compatible, as far as I know, it's compatible with this HDMI mod, and I have a clear aftermarket shell. So that would be something interesting to do. Might be high on people's lists if they're interested in that. The worst part of the AVE HDMI mod is taking the damn Wii apart. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's not really taking it apart, it's putting it back together again, because it's just, how many different types of screws there are? There are probably like a dozen different types of screws, and it just, that is the worst, one of the worst consoles I've taken apart, next to the 3DS. The 3DS is terrible. It's very compact and very brittle. Like the new one, I guess, the new 3DS. Okay, so that's that. It must be in there then, or maybe it's here. Oh, man. Don't know. I'm trying to look for my. I thought I had some lying around, but maybe I didn't. Maybe Merlin didn't send them yet. Oh, I gotta move this stuff. Sorry, I'm just doing stuff off screen. Obviously. Okay. What's next? That's the PlayStations. Okay. Here is my bin dedicated to building. I am serious. Some year, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but well, now that I did the now that I did the Ashita, I have plans of building a tiny Tendo. If Red Herring was here, got 8 broke PS3s. Do I want them? No, not particularly. As much as I find that interesting that they're broken, I don't know if I'm going to ever fix them. So I have some things for the tiny Tendo. I 3D printed a case. I'm not sure if I was going to go with this case or not, but it's just something to 3D print while I was bored, I guess. I have the screen. This is like a $40 screen. I don't know why. And so to build a tiny Tendo, you need to take a real CPU and PPU from a real, either a Famicom or an NES. And I just so happened to get some nasty looking, pretty nasty. I guess this is the nastiest looking Famicom that I got when I got stuff from Bai. But they have a compatible CPU and PPU. So eventually I would like to make a tiny Tendo, but it's a very involved process. And I don't know if I can possibly stream the cutting down of the CPU or the PPU part. Maybe I could ask him to, if I send him this Famicom, if he could cut it for me. Because my intention when I originally bought all this stuff was I could make a video about this. And you know, that part is, I feel like, would be really tricky, but it probably is not that tricky. I mean, just knowing my own skill and stuff, like, you do have to cut a certain height of the die, and it's very strange, but like I sent a picture, just not good at fixing that system. Yeah, I'm not sure, Matthew. So anyways, I've been stockpiling some parts for Tiny Tendo. So that's that. I do have other Famicoms, and somewheres, is it this stuff? I'm missing some more stuff, and I don't know where it is. Bother. Oh, okay, here's a new bin. I don't know why I took all this crap out and put it all in 1,000 different bins. What is this Boxy Pixel? Oh. I don't remember what I bought from Boxy Pixel, but oh, this stuff, maybe buttons. This is stuff to make a Game Boy macro, and so actually this is ABS. I printed this in ABS, but you can see one of the problems with printing ABS. If my camera will focus, you see how much it warps. This just warping. See how there's like a gap here. It warps up. You know, when the thing is, when you print ABS with these high temp filaments, sometimes it doesn't print warped. It prints fine, but then as it cools, ABS drastically shrinks, and that causes it to warp after the fact. So, clear Famicom shells. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just wanted to use. I have a couple of Famicoms. I just wanted to use the CPU for a Tiny Tendo. I have some other nicer looking ones. So, anyways, this is Humble Bazooka's GBA macro shell, I suppose. I have one. I didn't finish it though, but I just wanted to test the filament, really. I have kind of some of the guts put together already. So it has this nice, it's a nice feel. I just was never thrilled with the ABS filament that I used. I don't know why. I'm kind of picky when it comes to certain things, but yeah, I don't know. Cool looking mod just to make a Game Boy out of a Game Boy. And I have some garbage looking DS lights, as you can tell. So I have this other thing. This is from Retro Game Restore. This was a faceplate for making a macro also. So you use the bottom shell part, but then you put a new cover on the top or whatever. But I don't really like how nasty this one looks, so I just would rather gut it and put it in a separate shell. So that's stuff, Game Boy Advance macro stuff, which is cool. Yeah, it's well, one of the things I didn't. Yeah, I should just, and when you have the screws on it, it probably, makes it come together. But I was coming up with, there was weird like artifacts and stuff. Like, maybe it's me getting in my own head a little bit, but like there's certain places like here. You can kind of tell a little bit here that it's just not perfect, and not like it needs to be perfect, but I just kept printing kept trying to print until I was getting rid of some of these issues. So I could try it again, or I could just do it in PLA. I think Humble Bazooka just recommends doing it in PLA. So maybe I'll just do that to have it the best, good look, and it just wouldn't bother me anymore. It would just be done. The project would be done. All right, that stuff. PlayStation 2 stuff. Famicom. So I have this is kind of an oopsie. Not an oopsie, but I guess a good challenge. So I got this sweet looking twin Famicom from the Buy E Drop. It's in pretty good, and it's not amazing condition, but it's in okay condition. The controllers are probably the worst part about the condition of the controllers, I'm saying. But also the drive doesn't work. It doesn't eject discs. I was trying to test it, and the mechanism is not working. So I need to gut this, or at least this part. I think this is one unit that comes out, and fix that somehow. I don't know if anybody is familiar with fixing Famicom disc readers things and can give me an idea about what I might need to fix this, yeah, just let me know. Yeah, I see you guys talking about printers, but printing is probably one of the best things that you could do for the money. You don't need anything crazy. You know, obviously, the more you spend, the better time that you're going to have. You're going to have better print quality. You're going to have better, well, within reason. I mean, I think if you got a standard printer, you'd be still, and you never had a 3D printer before, you'd probably be happy with the quality of them. But yeah, there's very affordable printers, and there's all sorts of stuff that we in retro can print. So probably similar to fixing a floppy drive in general. Yeah, there's probably something stuck. It's probably a spring or something. But then, so that's like step one. I've never even tested this yet because I didn't at the time. Actually, I still don't have any Famicom cartridges. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I bought some. I had to buy some Famicom games because I don't have a Famicom flash cart. I guess I could get one of the adapters, the Famicom to the NES adapter, or what I probably would like to do. How do you guys feel about buying the? I know, so typically I like to try to support the original creators of things as best I can. If I know who the original creator of anything is, I like to support them by buying the product. But in this case, where I don't necessarily want to buy a second EverDrive, but I want a second EverDrive, I don't know, maybe I might be tempted to buy a clone. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Would you buy a clone or like a knockoff EverDrive if you already had another EverDrive? They're not exactly inexpensive either. I mean, I saw some on AliExpress that were like $50 or $60, which is less than a real EverDrive, but it's not like $10 or $20. You know, it's not like throwaway money. So I don't know. Just curious what your guys' opinions about that, because I would like to have a Famicom flash cart so I can test consoles and stuff. So anyways, I think this is a really neat looking system. I just got to make it work. And then, so that's like phase one, and phase two is to, you know, fix the disk drive, get a flash card or something. And then phase three is to figure out how to RGB mod it. I don't really like the idea of cutting this case to put a multi out, although that would probably be the most, just get a multi-cart. Yeah, that's interesting. 52-in-1 Famicom cartridge. Yeah. Yeah, I know Belmont. I never really hear thoughts from the people. You know, I always get opinions regurgitated through other people, and that's not that just happens. But just curious to know what you guys think about that. So I don't know what the best way to give the RGB output to the Famicom, Twin Famicom, other than cutting a hole for the multi-out in the back. I think there might be some options for, actually I think Rain might have made some kind of a little box that goes on the outside of this so that you can remove the RF connector here and then pass wires through it and do it that way. But look into an older NES EverDrive. Oh, that's an idea. Yeah, they're letting it go for cheap. Just a comparison before I put the Twin Famicom away. This is my first NES RGB that I did, and I actually cut the holes, so I have the whole shebang, the NES RGB connector, the DIN 8 or whatever it is, the TRRS or the headphone jack, whatever for output, and then palette select switch. So this is my first NES RGB that I did. See, I'm missing some things. Oh, I must have another bin somewhere because I'm missing the NES RGB 4s. I gotta think about that. I have some of those. The newer version, and I know there were a lot of problems people were having. Maybe not a lot, but some people were having some problems with them. So I wanted to buy them when they came up for sale, and I have two of them because I think I was thinking of also modding the Twin Famicom, RGB modding. Is this something? I don't know what this is, but let's look. Oh, this is stuff for Game Boy Advance GBA HD. Sorry, I'm not showing this, but I just have a bunch of crap. That was from when I made the GBA HD, and that's nothing. Man, I should have got more organized. I'm going to take this box down because this might be where all the crap this stuff is. Oh, was it in? Okay, no, that was not that. So this. I think these just go together. This box. I know I've got nothing showing on the screen. Sorry. Let's see what's in here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I knew I had another box that had all these things in it. Cool. So this is the NES box. I made that RF 8-pin to RGB, so there's no holes or anything. Oh, okay. Oh, you made it, or you developed it, or I've just made it. So I'm curious if it's someone else's project and you made it. I'm just wondering how well it worked. Just 'cause I just feel bad because I know those are already sort of rare. I just didn't want to cut holes in it. Okay, so here are I've got a couple of NES RGB 4.0s. Oh gosh, my stuff's all over here. my address is all over these things. So yeah, I don't know. I bought these probably a year ago. Soldered the wires to the pins. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, I see. You soldered. Oh, okay. So you soldered RGB to the RF thing, and then you have to make another. I guess I'm kind of lost. So, anyways, I have these, a couple of these, and one of these was going to go into the Open Tendo build, which I'm sure Red Herring will be thrilled about because he loves those. But I also have another set for the Twin Famicom, so that. I'd like to check that out someday too. So NES RGB and the I don't remember what Jeff Chen called the Twin Famicom extension port thing where you can plug controllers into the extension port on the side. I want to do that too because I don't really like the stock controllers on the thing. But here is also where. So this is actually a necessity. This was a kind of not competing, but it was released. It's been actually it's been around for a while. This necessity, but it's just another kind of board. It's not a one-to-one recreation like the Open Tendo was. This has some changes to it. Like the layout is a little bit different, I guess, or it uses some different modern parts or something. And it also came with the power replacement board. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do anything with this. I just thought it was cool. But here are the two top loader Open Tendo or front loader. This is the front loader. I do have the top loader. See, the thing with the top loader is, and I've heard from Red Herring that the top loader has noise, and it's kind of like you're stuck with it. So of the two, of the NES RGB, or of the NES, the front-loading NES or the top-loading NES, the front-loading NES is the one you want because it doesn't have the noise. The top-loading NES, I think there is some issues with it. And if you got the Open Tendo top-loader, it does not address the issues. It is a one-to-one recreation. So it's better, I suppose, to have the. Please don't cancel my stream, cat. I know there's stuff all over my desk. Cat can't sit down. Anyway, so the front loader is the one you want, but I would, just for ha-has, like to do the top loader someday, whatever, if I feel like it. I have a top loader already NES RGB modified, so I could do comparisons, but I want to get the Open Tendo front loader RGB, NES RGB'd. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think if your purpose is to just do composite with a top loader, I think it's fine. I don't think you're going to notice that many issues. But if you're really pixel peeping with an NES RGB or something, you might see some noise. And I would like to experiment with that. I'd like to, do side by sides or something. So here are the updated Merlin Shaw. This was the version 2 of what he was calling the RCA edition. So this is sort of an upgrade. A new layout of the power circuitry is new compared to the one that I had in my NES that died, that stopped working. So this was a revision on that. So I would like to either test this with the Open Tendo just to see if it works again or if it's some other issue. Or I have this other one here. So this is the first one that Merlin Shaw gave, and it says January, so January 12th. So earlier this year, 9 months ago. If you want a back panel for the top loader, I have a SNES Edge connector, composite AV, all self-contained. I have a SNES Edge connector, composite AV board. Interesting. Yeah, if you want to send me just the link to the project, Hugo, you can do that, and I'll check it out just to see if it's something that I would ever get around to. I do have the replacement 3D printed piece that Laser Bear made, and so the top loader has a multi-out, but my front loader does not. So I want to get a front loader that has an NES RGB, and a multi-out. So this is the second design. This is the, I guess he's calling it the companion module, but it's essentially kind of like the NES IO, where it has a Genesis port on the back. So this, and then it has, it came with somewhere, oh boy, I hope I can find that. Somewhere is this must be a, what are these connectors called? I can't remember what these connectors are called. JST? Tiny, like a JST, the tiny one. It has breakouts to connect to the NES RGB board. So this is like the NES IO in the fact that I can hook up right to the NES RGB, and then you get the Genesis input or output like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this. So this is probably the board that I would try. Although I know he has, now Merlin has even newer ones that have built-in USB power delivery. So you can charge with a USB, not charge. You can power the regulator board. Actually, I don't know if it still has a regulator, if it's just doing 5 volts. NES RGB sucks. Red herring. I have a request. I have a request from you while you are here. So anyways, one of those two is going to go into my Open Tendo. And if I'll leave it up to Red Herring if he wants me to put actually he probably would say just get a stock. He would just say get a stock RF module. Should I put the NES RGB compatible power adapter in my top Open Tendo NES, or should I put the more stock, just composite one? I think I know what his pick is going to be. Just having some fun. Oh, my question for you, Red, while you're here, is I don't know how, I'm sure you're probably busy, but since I no longer really have a need to make a video for the Tiny Tendo, I was sharing some parts earlier. If I send you a Famicom, actually I could depopulate the CPU and the PPU for you. If I send you a CPU and PPU for a Tiny Tendo, would you trim them for me? RGB sucks. Because I really would like to make a Tiny Tendo. That's probably one of my so one of my biggest goals for this year was to finish the Ashita, right? So that was a project that I've had all the parts. I've had the Ashita parts for probably a couple of years now, and I never got around to it. And I was like, you know what? I don't care if it doesn't make a good video. I don't care how long it takes me. I'm making a video about the Ashita and finishing it. So Tiny Tendo is my goal for next year, to do that by the end of next year. Is my Open Tendo board also black PCB? It is, yeah, yep. Let me try, where is that? I don't know where any of the screws are for anything either. You could say I'm screwed. I don't know where I put all the, it's probably in that other box. Yep, this is the, it is kind of, not sure if that's vape juice. Not vape juice, but like, vape. It was in that container though. I don't imagine, so that's the reason I put everything in the containers, is so that my stuff wouldn't get messy, but might as well match it with composite. Yeah. Well, that's what I was using this other Merlin Shaw board for. But if I get the clear case, the clear NES shell, then I won't have to worry about not modding it or not cutting it, because it'll have a punch out that you can just put the multi out into already. I don't want to deprive you of the fun of trimming the chips. Oh God. Okay. Well, okay. That means I have to take a shot at it. That's not really something I can do inside on a live stream. Maybe I could do like some weird outside. I don't know how the heck I would get good. I don't know. I have pretty good internet. I just have to set up a computer outside and trim them outside, because I'm not doing that inside. I don't know if Merlin is selling them anywhere. I kind of lost contact with him, so I will have to, because it's kind of a shame, because every time I say, oh hey, replacement power boards, and I know like Retro Gamer Store is getting into ones for the Famicom and stuff. It is a blinking light one, yeah. I always mention Merlin Shaw stuff. So like if he had a store where he was just selling them, even if there's still issues with them, I'm not sure. I only said that there's issues because there's issues with this older one, right? I've only ever used this older one, so that's why I wanted to. You know what? How much time we got? Okay, we got 15 minutes before I'm gonna end the stream. We're gonna mod the NES. We're gonna swap out the Merlin Shaw board with the composite one. Let me just grab it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to test it quick enough. I have my RetroTink. I'll have to. I don't know. Out of stock forever. Yeah. Someone else took over. Really? Because I know there's a bunch of markings on the board. So like Geek Island Gaming is his company name, I think. But also actually my name is on here somewhere. Oh, let's go second down from the top. Anybody who'd helped him on the project, he put their name on here. So anyways, if you have info about that red herring, let me know, because I always talk about these things, and they might. What are your thoughts on this red herring? If let's say that the power circuitry was adequate, are you a fan of these ones that don't, like, just the composite only ones, and they don't have, like, let's say they don't have the USB. So this is just a barrel jack for power, uses the stock power supply and composite, and just the stereo mono, thing. My name is yeah, that's funny. I'm in here. Just trust me, I'm in here. Anyway, so I'll have to find that out, because I do. All right, let's shut up and let's actually do this. Is this gonna be difficult to do right now? All right, so let's take this apart. So I gotta take this off. I just got crap all over my room now. See, I got the death grip. Blinking light went. That is why my EverDrive is not in here. Actually, I had my EverDrive in here, and I was concerned that was causing the power issues. But if they're composite only, hey, let's go. Red herrings on board if they're composite only. So, fun fact. Actually, how do I do this? Fun fact: these screws are not Phillips. They're JIS. What does JIS stand for? Something Japanese Industrial Standard, something like that. But the shape of the tip is not the same. It has like a square. This is probably going to be incredibly difficult to describe, but if you look at a picture of JIS tips, and this I learned way after I've been making videos about the NES, by the way. It's pretty embarrassing. I can't tell, but it's has a more squared off middle. So it's like Phillips, but it fits these screws better. That's all I can. Welcome to Screwdriver Tech Tips. Okay, so somehow I have to get this. It's been a while. Okay, and I had a single drink, so I'm kind of not sure what's happening. No, just kidding. Close enough to Phillips. It is close enough to Phillips, but if you've stripped one of these, yeah, you're welcome for. Oh, yeah, I think it was you, Red Herring. It told me about it. I mean, not to be a shill or anything. I actually should put in the description of this, but I do highly. Oh, I have an Amazon store thing set up somewhere. I should link to that in the descriptions, because I have basically all the parts, all the tools that I use and recommend. I have them in a little Amazon store, so if you want to, you don't have to. Like, it uses my affiliate link automatically, so you can just do it that way. I really recommend these. Mako is the size, I think. These kits from iFixit. iFixit makes really good stuff, and they're relatively cheap for all the bits that you get. I mean, essentially, this is almost everything that we could ever need in retro, including like these are this little weird guy up here. I think this is for taking the weird screws out of like a power brick for the NES or something. You use this, something like that. They use real metal screws. Yeah. Yep, pretty much. Anyway, so I really like these. If you want to find an affiliate link for me and buy one of those, if you need a screwdriver kit, I really, these things are awesome. And they have they have JIS and Phillips. So, all right, back to taking blinking light win off. They really are, and I mean, it has nothing to do with retro, but if you have a phone and your phone's broken or something, most of the time they have awesome guides and replacement parts for phones and things. So not related to retro, but hey, people got phones. People got phones. Okay. Oh shoot, I do need the desoldering gun though. Okay, I do need to. I had this screen to look at comments, but it's gonna have to go away for a second. More torque in your tools. Yeah, that's true. I kind of wish that no, not iFixit. I feel like it's sort of free real estate for the LTT ratcheting screwdriver. They really should make it can still ratchet, but I really think they should make a toolkit like the iFixit, but with bits, like bigger bits. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if LTT just made a ratcheting screwdriver set, maybe even if it doesn't, I know that one of the features of the LTT screwdriver is it has the bit holder in the side that you can pull out. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, if it was just in a case like the iFixit one, I think I would just use the heck out of that instead of this, because this has all the bits that I need. It's just the screwdriver thing. This part, that it's okay, it's fine, it doesn't ratchet or anything, but I think a ratcheting, the ratcheting one, the Linus Tech Tips one, I'm curious about that, but I don't want to spend the $70 or whatever the heck it is to do that. Yeah, I'm just getting my desoldering gun because I'm gonna need it. Just moving it over here. I hate iFixit. My name is Tim Cook. I don't get it. Does Tim Cook not like iFixit? Oh, I see. Yeah, anti-consumer Apple behavior. Yeah. Apple gonna Apple, I guess. I say that as a pretty much an Apple fanboy for phones, at least. But yeah, it's true. Too bad iFixit screwdrivers don't fit down any screw wells. That's true. They also could make longer bits because there's some things I do believe, like even the NES here on the bottom of the NES, the screw holes are too narrow to have this part of the screwdriver come down to it. Yeah, I think you're right. Everything is made in China, no matter if it's iFixit or not. Yeah, that's true. Pretty much. I mean, saying that something is made in China is like not. I mean, you're basically saying, oh, it's a thing that someone made. not saying that everything is made in China, but saying something is made in China nowadays is not like it used to be, where you say something is made in China, it's cheap. It can be cheap, but it is also just a country that manufactures goods. So, and they've done a pretty dang good job, enough to take, a lot of the manufacturing jobs. I am kind of excited for Made in America stuff, Made in America PCB manufacturing to come back, and chip manufacturing and stuff. So that does excite me. but not to the point where I would choose to not buy something that was made in China. I know you guys probably think that's obvious, but okay. So I have to. First step is I have to desolder these little power pins. So let's do that. This is gonna be a little bit loud. I definitely misunderestimated how quickly I could do this. Remember Back to the Future? They said the same thing about Japan. Yeah, that's true about Japanese quality and stuff, which is still kind of true because I have a Toyota and I can feel the quality in my Toyota versus I used to have I've had a bunch of different cars. I had an Infiniti. I really like my Infiniti, but I was just in an unfortunate accident and totaled it. Nobody got hurt, but I totaled the car. Where did I learn how to solder? Hold on, Darks. I'll get back to that in a second. But I had this old Ford Focus, and it was a 2004, but it was such a piece of garbage that at one point, and it was a hatchback, so it was if you're into cars, it was an SVT Focus. So it was manual transmission. It was a fun car, kind of fun car to drive, but not super fast, but it's fun to drive it. But the problem was, at one point, I broke the door handle because it's a coupe essentially because it's only got two doors. I doesn't have the second row of doors, so I couldn't get into my car through the driver's side because it was the driver's side door handle that broke. So I jerry-rigged just a string to open the door handle from the inside from my trunk. So I had to open up the trunk and then pull a handle to get in my car. So that's fun. Anyway, so for some reason now I think just most American cars are just bad. I should probably do a better job with desoldering these. You know what I'm going to do? All right, so where did I learn to solder? Classic Ford. Yeah, I don't know what their products are like now, but I just because of that, I'm like, I'm never buying this again. Or at least not for a while. So I like my Infiniti had good. It was nice. That's also another Japanese. Okay. Where did I learn to solder? Well, I found Retro RGB, the website, and Bob together, obviously, because if you find the website, you find Bob. And I was learning about the NES RGB and about a whole bunch of other things like replacing capacitors and stuff. And I think the first thing I ever soldered, I somehow convinced my friend to let me borrow or let me recap his Game Gear. I don't know why. But I tried taking a step. And if you know anything about the Game Gear is like, it's kind of a crappy console it's kind of a crappy console, end of sentence. But particularly the capacitors are kind of difficult to remove because they use these weird square capacitors and they're like glued to the board. So now it would be a piece of cake to replace them, but as somebody who had never soldered before, it was difficult. So I ended up ruining my friend's Game Gear, unfortunately. But pretty quickly afterwards, the first mod that I successfully did was the NES RGB. And I believe it's because, not that I'm such a good, or I knew how to solder so well, but the NES motherboard, for the most part, can take a lot of abuse. Someday I'll have to take apart my original NES RGB, that one that has the holes drilled in the back of it, and just do an autopsy of that thing, because I'm sure it'll be nasty. But oh, why did I solder this end? I'm an idiot. Shoot. Well, actually, no, that's not a. I do need to do it this way. Okay. So anyways, I learned just to do the NES RGB. It was the first time that I ever soldered anything. By hand, too. I didn't have a desoldering iron yet at the time. Just got a different version of the composite board and wired up 10 watt 5 ohm resistor and did a 24-hour burn-in, installing it into another NES. Oh, okay. I had problem with that version of the power module. This version, the one that I have in here, the original one, had made 5 from PCBWay. All 5 died. Interesting. Kevin, if you're still here, is this the one that you've had problems with? The older version one? Or the newer one? You're saying the newer one has issues? This is, as far as I know, this is redesign. So that's interesting that this, if you bought this, I would reach out to Merlin if you have one that doesn't work. But, you know, you probably already did that. Oh, I see. Got a different version of the composite board and wired up to 10 watt 5 ohm resistor and did a 24-hour burn-in before I even thought about installing it. So I'm curious, Kevin, if you got it working or not. My dad once fixed CRT TVs for a short period of time. Ah, that's the first time he soldered. The 2.1D. Is that what this is? Oh, so you have an even newer one. So I have the 2.0. Interesting. Huh. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. I don't really know what you can fry. What can you fry on the NES? I don't know. I guess this is... I guess the power board is where all the filtering and protection is supposed to happen. So, yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll learn my lesson whether or not this is a good idea. Okay, so these pins are not 100% loose. Okay, I think they are. Wiggle, wiggle. Hey! Nice. The PPU and CPU got fried? I hope on the old one. Because I'm about to drop... Oh, wait. Were you talking about the... What's the model of the other board? So this is the Genesis one. So this is 1.9. Maybe I should reach out to Merlin and not install this yet? Huh. Man. I would hate to fry. Gotta get up early, pour concrete, check the post I tagged in. Okay. Thanks, Belmont. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, it was a 2.1 version of the NES RGB. Oh. Do you happen to remember what version of the power board it was that got nuked? If you still have it? I'll reach out to Merlin either way, but... Okay, so I don't need that. Oh, I do need that. Okay, so let's get this board out of the way. I gotta turn on my soldering iron. I don't know why I'm so determined to get this done right at the end of the stream, but see how far we can get in another couple of minutes. Okay. Okay, so for some I think it must have to do with the shielding on the original RF module, that it made contact with the ground on the NES board, but for these newer boards, these newer Merlin Shaw boards, you need to wire a ground directly from the power boards to the ground on the motherboard. So that's what this little guy is flopping around. Oh, okay, I see. So there's another version. So that's this. So you have a newer version of this, basically. Okay, so you have one of the ones that's probably the USB-C maybe or something. Okay, so I'm gonna wing it with this one. Hopefully, hopefully it's fine. But I do need it says here that you need to connect ground to the NES PCB. So we gotta take the wire from my other one here. Got it. I know this is hard for you guys to see, but I'm just taking this cable and soldering it over here. I got some lead-free solder After I rage quit a couple of gem installs because the PS2 uses lead-free solder, I just ponied up and bought a thing of Kester. It's the same thickness, so it's 0.5 millimeter, which I like for my leaded solder. But it's for, I don't know, those lead-free consoles, GameCube, PS2, I think, are the only ones that come to mind. 2.1E. Okay. Well, this is 2.0, so we're going to give 2.0 a shot. But I need the... now I do need to desolder the pin headers. I wish that there was easier ways. I suppose I could solder a wire. But I wish there were nice replacements for this pin header. I've been reusing this one. Okay, let's try to... Probably really need to clean this afterward. Oh my god, this thing is a mess. It's like holes melted in it and stuff. Oh yeah, Kevin, just send me a tweet or something. I would love to buy a bunch of these pin headers. So I know that they are the same. Earlier this year, I got into pinball stuff. I know that they use this size of pin, these square pins, and the size in pinball boards a lot. So I'm sure it's out there. I just know it's not super popular with just normal mods stuff. So the only thing that is in really is, as far as I know, is the NES, this replacement board. Okay, so we need to save this little pin header, and we need to solder it onto the new power board. So I'm just doing it off the side here. Just gonna solder one. Hopefully the pins don't shift, like melt and get pushed down a little bit. And then just make sure that they're level enough. I don't really think it matters as far as these. Ouch, hot. Ugh. Come on. Okay. So this is how the video, I believe the video generated from the PPU gets back to the power module is through these pins. So it's how the stock console gets power from these pins, and it also puts video back on it, I think, here. It only comes as a 6-pin, but okay, yeah, just cut it off. Working on my portable Xbox, so exhausted from going full steam ahead on this thing. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know 100% what you mean, but I know kind of what you mean as far as when I was working on the Ashita, and that wasn't even developing it. That was just me doing it. It was a very exhausting experience, and I know it must be an even not worse. I mean, it really depends on how you think about it, but more difficult, I guess I would say, if you have to learn how to do everything yourself versus looking up stuff. Okay, come on, get in there. Get in your home. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so we're just making sure that the NES is in its home. Okay. Oh, look at that Chungus. This big Chungus cap. Now I'm going to screw down the hopefully not ruin anything. Okay. All right. Once I finish soldering that, then I'm gonna head out because it's past my stream time. Okay. So now that the NES board is mostly flat, and you know what, I should solder these just for ha-has. One goes here. I think those are the right holes, or is it this one? Okay, good enough. Okay, then we can solder these. I don't know. What do you guys think about having background music in the future? I kind of didn't because I was maybe thinking about if I ever wanted to cut the video or the VOD, the stream VOD, into a smaller video. It'd be easier. I guess I could always record it without record the stream and record without audio, yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, well, that's where I'm gonna stop now. Let's see. This is the exact mod that I've been sitting on for months. You're giving me motivation. Yeah, that's kind of what these streams are for me too, is motivation, because it's like stuff like this. I mean, I don't know how many mod videos it would take before I would make a video about this. I guess I could have made a video about the NES RGB V4 and see if there's any problems and try to fix those on a video. Like do a roundup of issues that people were having and possible fixes and things. But it's not, NES RGB is not a shiny new thing anymore. I think that it's I don't know what people's opinions are on the, I know what Red Herring's opinions are on the NES RGB, but I don't know what people that are familiar with newer mods, flex cable mods, how they view the NES RGB, because it hasn't really changed since the whole time I've been modding, other than the version. So, okay, well, we did a lot. We did a mod and didn't test it yet. I'd have to pull out my cables and stuff and finish putting it together, but we accomplished one mod, which is replacing this power board. I've got to send the broken one back to Merlin so that he can take a look at it if he wants to. And next is, I don't think this is not going to stay a stock, or not going to stay a composite console. I wanted a multi-out console, multi-out front loader specifically with the top Open Tendo stuff. So I wanted to get the clear shell, and I've got the multi-out already, and the QSB, the Voltar QSB. So if this power board works fine for just the power side of things, I don't necessarily know if I want to go the distance and do the Genesis. Oh, I did see where did I put the NES IO? So I think I saw the real Phoenix, and this is the last thing. The real Phoenix. So this is the NES IO. I talked about this earlier already, but it has S-Video and the Genesis output on it, and so it would end up going somewhere around here. But I think I would prefer a multi-out, even if I had to drill a hole, because these NES shells are kind of a dime a dozen. I would have no problem cutting, because they made a ton of NES front loaders. I don't really feel that much guilt in cutting a hole in this one to do the multi-out. Or if I get the clear shell already has a cutout for the multi-out. However, I saw somewhere on Twitter relatively recently, actually, that there is a little adapter thing that fits in here in this setup. If you had the NES IO, that actually converts the Genesis connector to a multi-out externally. So it's like a little stupid dongle that converts the multi-out to, or the Genesis output to a little multi-out thing. So that all in the name of not having to cut a single hole in your Genesis. So I thought that was pretty funny, that the lengths that people will go to not cut a hole in these NESs. So yeah. I'm gonna sit down for a minute. All right. Yep. It's all about continuous improvement. Hopefully the mic sounded okay. As far as the stream, I'm just trying to button things up. Like I said, go back and watch the beginning of this. And I talked about trying to get the stream set up on the other side over there so that I can play games on the OLED and talk with like a face cam somehow. So I got to get USB stuff over there. So ended up still cutting the hole bigger. Yeah, I've heard that the Genesis plugs or the cables still don't fit into the NES at that spot. So had an issue with the HD Retrovision cables. Yes, yeah. So that's another thing that's like a little extension thing. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop talking. Thanks for hanging out. The goal is to do both Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday is gonna be reserved for modding / playing those mod consoles, or one or the other. And Sundays I would still like to do modding news, talk about modding news. It might not be as concise as the videos were, the edited videos, but I still think that we can cover a lot of stuff. You guys can ask me questions about and how you think about mods. And sorry, Jory, you can watch the VOD. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is sort of a weird time for me because this is like after my son goes to bed and before I go to bed. So, but yeah, just let me know. Leave a comment if you feel like there's something that I could try or something that other people haven't done, as long as it's reasonable, I suppose, or any mods or something. Just let me know, and we'll try to do it. And I also want to figure out. I want to do some more of those mods. Like that was one of the mods in the bucket, the NES that we just did, or the power board replacement. But I don't know. Like there's some heavy hitters in there. There's the AVE HDMI, so the Wii HDMI mod that we could do. There is eventually when Dan sends me the flex cable again for Gem, we could do Gem here. I have another whole Project Stellar mod chip set up that I could put into another Xbox. Again, another one of those things that we could give out. So, Xbox portable stream, Tiny Tendo. I need to do the chip thing. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know. So, all right. Thanks everyone. I will catch you. I'll try to tweet something, or if you're in my Discord, if you don't like Twitter, I guess you can just join the Discord because I set up a new announcements channel that I'm going to try to announce. I didn't ping everybody, but I want to announce when I have the stream. So, okay, goodbye. See you on Sunday.